throwaway things. She sees beauty where the broken sings. With a thrift store eye and a clever hand, she's got a glue gun and she's got a plan. Cameras rolling, you're in for a treat. Click on her channel, take a front row seat. It's not homemade, nah, it's something great. Welcome to the show, it's Hood Made. Hood Made!
Hello everybody, and welcome to my first episode of Hood Made. And for those of you who don't know, I am Kim Hood. Welcome to my channel. I'd love for you to click on the like and subscribe button. That will help things out, and also click on notifications so that you don't miss any future projects or any hood antics going forward. In today's video, I was hoping to do a couple of things. However, apparently learning to do video and edit and all that sort of thing is a DIY project in and of itself. Now, of course, I did not record that. Don't need y'all to know that side of me. But anyway, it was a learning process that after I learned it, it's good. It's all good. It's all good. So I started out with a video creation platform. Realized that after I learned how to use it, it was more for a podcast and not for a DIY kind of thing. So I had to go and figure out a different one and learn to use it, which the different one it was a little more complicated, but once you learn how to work it, it's super easy. And so I think that my videos going forward will be much better. So now I am going to take this teapot from hell, or as I had been calling it, the creepy baby face teapot, and I'm going to take it from hideous to high end. So we'll see how you like the way it turns out. You may not think it looks high end, but it certainly does not look hideous at the end, in my humble opinion. So we'll see. I'm going to also share kind of a hack that I came up with on how to hang some created projects. I had hoped to be able to show you how to actually create the projects I'm hanging up. But again, it was just one of those things where time got out of hand, and by the time I got everything edited and figured out how to work, that I was just ready to get something up. Many of you guys, some of you who are watching know that before I ever got into the medical field, I was actually a graphics designer. And so when I decided to come up with a YouTube video, I thought, oh, I need a cute logo. And so I thought, oh, let me get my graphics programs out and I'll put something together. And then I thought, you know, I bet AI could do it for me instead. So I thought, let me just go and see what ChatGPT can do. Or actually, it's GPT, I believe. Anyway, seriously, I hate AI. It scares the nutter butter out of me. But in the same vein, it is like really cool. So if it never got like any more scary than it is right now, it'd be so nice. I really would hope that that never happens, but you know it's going to. But anyway, so I opened up ChatGPT and said, hey, make me a logo that looks like this, that says this, in these colors, and that's where the Hood Made logo came from. And then I thought, ooh, wouldn't it be fun to have a theme song? And I got to thinking about that and how that could happen and where I could go to find some, music that doesn't have any royalties associated with it or whatever. And I thought, I bet there's an app for that. And sure enough, there was. I found an AI app called Suno, S-U-N-O. And basically typed into it what the specifics of the song needed to be about. Wanted it in a jazzy theme, and thus it created a nice little 2-minute song. Now, at the beginning of this, you only heard about 20-25 seconds worth of it. But it's a very, very cute little song, and I'm happy to have that as my, part of my intro. So that was part of the DIY that was being done behind the scenes that you didn't get to see. Now, with that said, let's get on to turning this really hideous teapot into something a little more glorious and eye appealing, something that you'd be proud to show in your home. Before we get started with the video, there is one thing I did want to share that is a public service announcement. You know, I do have a little bit of a medical background, and I did read a study, and I wanted to share it with y'all before we got started. About 75% of people who watch YouTube videos and don't subscribe will go on to have children, grandchildren, even great-grandchildren. And this is terrible, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. That you'll go on to have them born naked and with no teeth. And I don't want that for y'all. So that's why if you just click on subscribe and like, it will protect your family going forward. No naked and toothless children in your life. So just wanted to share that.
I'm going to set it to the side, and I'll show you why we're going to do that later. This is just a reminder of what the little creepy teapot looks like and why we're doing to it what we're doing in order to take it from hideous to high end. Okay, now I'm going to take an IOD trimmings mold, and I'm going to also take some DOS air dry clay. I've used DOS since I've been crafting, and I find that it doesn't crack like the others do. And I'm going to then take the baking powder, and I'm going to dust my mold to get it ready for the casting, which is just going to be the impression of the clay into that mold. This takes a little bit of time because this is a very large mold in comparison to other molds, so it can take a little bit of time. Okay, now I'm ready to get the DOS air dry clay. I'm going to pull out a big chunk of this and get it ready to put into the mold. The clay is really cold and not very pliable, and so you want to really work that in your hands, squish it around real good to make it more pliable so that it will stick into the mold easier. Now you're going to start working this clay into this mold just very patiently. Now the IOD molds have a raised rim along the edge of the mold, making it easy to know where the mold starts and stops, and using that can help get the casting smooth and clean along the edges. It's one of my favorite molds to use. Not all molds will do this. IOD is a higher end mold, and I'll tell you, it's worth every penny. I will often take a straight edge and smooth out the surface, which makes it easier for it to stick onto whatever item that you're going to put the casting on, which is what I'm doing here. Y'all, I must have cut about 150 hours of me messing with this casting, but when I got it perfect, I flipped it over and began to roll the mold back, allowing gravity to help the casting fall from the mold. And I just roll my mold up, gently pressing the casting down so that it'll release from the mold. This one's a pretty large one, so it's a little bit harder to sometimes get it to release, but it did release beautifully for me. Once I have this released, I'm going to flip over the casting and get it ready to put some Titebond Quick and Thick on. So I'm just going to turn that over carefully, get the Titebond Quick and Thick. Now this glue usually oftentimes applied to like wood items. This one is a multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to put this over the back of the casting. Sometimes you can use a little bit of hot glue to hold the casting in place once you have it on the item that you're applying it to. But I did not do that in this situation, and you'll see where I will take the painter's tape to hold it in place. Now I'm taking a a painting brush, just a regular paintbrush. This one has finer bristles so that it will spread the glue but not cause the mold to be deformed in any way. I'm sorry, not mold, the casting to be deformed in any way. I want to make sure that it retains its design. And so I'm working that around the mold and to the very, very edge, just fine layer towards the edge because those edges need to stick. You want to get enough glue that it will adhere but not ooze out a lot. Now, of course, you can clean the edges with a wet paper towel or a baby wipe. If it does ooze out once you put it on, put the casting on the item, but if you can get the perfect amount of glue on to begin with, it makes that a lot easier. And so once I work this glue all the way around the casting and to the edges, I'm going to carefully pick it up and place it over the ugly little baby faces, cover that up, make it a pretty flower motif on the teapot. I'm going to use a Cricut spatula to help me lift that up. You can see here I'm just carefully raising it up, or bringing it up my arm and hand. Now I'm going to put the teapot on its side, and I reach for an item to help me keep it on its side, just a box of pins there, just to hold it in place so I can put the molding over these baby faces. And then I'm going to work the casting down over the baby faces. And you see how I'm positioning the casting on the teapot to get it level and to cover the baby faces. And I'm kind of gently pressing it down along the edges because you want those edges to be flush against the teapot. When this dries, you don't want it to be raised away from the teapot such that it would look like it's something that's just been added. You want it to look like it's actually an original part of the teapot. And so you'll see me just gingerly go around the edges of this mold several times, looking at it from multiple directions because sometimes it'll look fine one way, but then when you twist it a different way, you're like, oh, that's not down. I gotta press that down a little bit more. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm just carefully and lightly pressing this against that teapot so that I have good contact all the way around. And now I'm going to take that painter's tape, I'm going to press it against the teapot, but I'm not going to press it against the mold itself. I'm just letting the painter's tape hold the mold in place. And I'm going to put all three of those over the mold to hold it in place so that when I let this sit overnight to dry, that mold is not going to slide down the teapot and be malpositioned in the morning. So that is the plan here. So I'll let it sit overnight to dry before doing the other. And the next morning I took the painter's tape off. Here it is, dried in place. It already looks so much better than those little stupid creepy baby faces. And I'm going to do the other side. So when we pick up this project, both sides will have been completed and we will start the painting process.
Okay, we're going to get this teapot ready to paint. Now we're going to spray paint it. I've got it on my Lazy Susan. It's all taped off. And this is Rust-Oleum Stone Gray I'm going to use. I like using a gray spray paint as a base coat whenever I'm going to be doing greens. I find, especially lighter greens, it works well at covering up any other colors that may have been on the item that I'm planning to repaint. Now, if I wanted to leave this teapot glossy finish, making it look like that ceramic gloss finish, a spray paint green would be a better option, but I'm planning to hand paint this because I want it to look more like a pottery type piece. So I want the texture of that hand paint. And this is the teapot up close after it's dried, and this is Fusion's Manor Green. It didn't translate well on video there, but I love Fusion paint. It is primer and sealer all in one, and sealing projects is very important, especially if you plan to have it in areas where they can particularly get wet or water on them, or if you plan to put other things like transfers on them or things like that. Now, this teapot is for decor only. We're not going to be actually using it, so I'm not worried about food grade or safety at all, because this is just going to go up on a counter for decor purposes. Now I'm working this paint into the crevices and creases and the deep designs of this casting, and throughout this video I may use casting and mold interchangeably, but I am referring to castings at this point when I'm talking about this design. And I'm going to paint the entire teapot this deep green, and I'm doing the darker green first because I plan to use the dark green as to give the casting depth. I'll put the lighter green on top of it a little bit later. And you'll see how I just work this in all the way around and continue painting the pot.
Okay, so I'm finishing up my pot and I'm going to do the lid also, and I've lost footage of me painting the teapot and lid the lighter green color, so at some point you're going to see the teapot magically become a lighter shade of green. And boop, there it is. So I have completely covered the teapot in Fusion's paint called Lichen. It's one of my favorite green colors. Now I'm going to begin the process of what I like to call push and pull. I'm pulling out darker colors, bringing out lighter colors. Darker colors will go in, lighter colors go in, just to create a little bit more depth to make the motif of the mold or casting pop a little bit more. I don't want any one area to be more one color than the other. I just really want it to add definition so that when you're looking at this teapot you can make out the design in the pattern of the casting. And I'll spend a great deal of time doing a little bit of the mandarin green here and there, a little bit of the lichen over the areas where there may be too much mandarin green, back and forth, and I'll do it from different angles, from looking at the bottom of the teapot down, flipping it over, just to make sure. Now I'm going to be painting the, this is me painting the lid, how about that? So you missed the pot, but you got to see the lid. Alright. Now I'll set this over to the side now, and while I have that teapot up at a different level from a different distance, I'm going to start to again push and pull those two shades of green. I'll even put it up on a higher area. Now this is where I bring in the Paint Couture metallic bronze. Paint Couture is a different brand of paint. I like the metals that company produces, and so I'm going to be just dusting bronze now over the casting, just for a pop of shine and color, to really help bring out the design features that are in this casting. I want this to be the star of the teapot. And again, I'm going to spend a good bit of time doing this. This is the one time that my brain stays quiet, is when I'm creating something. It can't think about more than what I'm doing during creation of a project, which is why I think that crafting is such a good thing for most people to do. Helps to drown out the background noise of what's going on in life. Plus you get a pretty thing, a pretty product at the end. So I think you get the gist of how it's done, to just go around and lightly put bronze in the higher areas of the motif of the casting until you like it, pretty much. I mean, it's your creation. You can make it look how you want. Now I'm going to take some antique gold rub and buff, and I'm going to put the product on my fingers, and add some gold highlights around some of the high spots of the teapot, just to kind of give it a little bit of an antique-y look all the way around the rim. And I'll use my thumb to continue to smudge it all the way around the edge of the rim. I'm going to put some on the spout. See that there all the way around. And let's put a wee bit on the handle. At some point you're going to see that I do a little too much rub and buff. I get a little too much on there. Rub and buff is a product, see right there, I got way too much. I'm like, dang, 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 dang. I try to use just a regular paper towel to get it off, but it's just not. It's just going to basically buff into the handle more. So I'm taking some rubbing alcohol and putting some on a tissue. I find that this works best. I've tried to use baby wipes before or water. It doesn't do as well as using some alcohol. Rub and Buff is an oil-based wax that you can use to change the color of picture frames or highlight different projects. And so I use alcohol to lighten areas where I might be a little heavy-handed. I take it off my fingers with the alcohol, and I'll even use alcohol to clean a paintbrush if I've used Rub and Buff on a paintbrush. Now let's move that teapot and do the lid. And I'm going to show you a little bit of footage on what I do to the lid. So I increase the speed of this video, but you'll see where I'm using the Rub and Buff on different parts of the lid, and then I'm pulling back some of that Rub and Buff with some alcohol on a piece of paper towel. I'm going around the lid. And again, I'm heavy-handed there, so I'm going to pull back a little bit because I just want it to look like there's a wee bit of gold that's kind of worn over the years. And I'm just going to use that alcohol to clean off my hands now. Okay, now let's go and get the teapot and start removing the painter's tape I had on the inside rim. When I spray painted it, I also put a paper towel on the inside so that the spray paint wouldn't fall on the inside. So you'll see that paper towel in there, and I'll remove that in a minute. You can see that the edges of the rim are a bit jaggedy. Okay, now what I have here is something called a Work Pro, I believe. It's basically a plastic blade that I'm going to use to go around the edge to scrape up any paint that's not in the right location, get it off the edges where I don't want it, and also to kind of help make the edge look a little crisper. Now, you guys may have seen something similar to this. You can use this to take labels and stickers off of price tags off of items too, and because it's a plastic version rather than the metal straight blade type version, it doesn't scratch up your item. I got it from Amazon, and again, I believe it's called Work Pro. And I'm going to start taking the tape off of the teapot, and when I did, I noticed that it started to pull the tape, the paint off. So I'm going to go around the edge between the tape and the lid, just kind of splicing, or slicing I should say, the paint from the tape, so that when I remove the tape, I'm not going to have the tape pull my paint off. And so there is, there was some that was lifted, but I'll show you in a minute what I'm going to do with that. I believe that was still a little stuck there, and went and cut that also to remove that piece of tape. And then just like on the teapot, I'm going to take that Work Pro blade and go around the edge to clean off paint where I don't want it, to try to make those edges look crisp. And then I'll come in with a paint and some paintbrush and really try to make that look a little bit more uniform and professional looking. So I'm just going to take this paintbrush and just gently go along the edge there very carefully to try to get a nice clean line, and I'm going to do that all the way around the edge of this teapot lid. So I'm getting this edge looking much better than it did, using a steady hand. And then I'm going to take that Work Pro blade in a minute and just kind of clean the edge off where I might have got outside the line. God forbid we get outside the lines, right, y'all? And while I don't like coloring inside the lines, sometimes you need to make it all look so pretty. I'm going to do the the teapot edge. Just make a nice, clean, crisp edge on that inner rim. Alright, and I'm going to clean this up some more. And I'm pretty much finished. So let's put the before and the after pictures together and let's see what the difference is. Which do y'all like? Creepy baby face or the flower motif teapot? And here is a final version of it styled on my cabinet that sits behind my couch.
Let me show y'all a little trick, okay? So this is if you need a hanger for something that you've ever made. These are the little command strip hooks that you actually put on the wall to hang things on. Put on the wall, hang things on it. However, you can make a hanger out of these. And I'm sure that there are some things out there online that I could get that may be far easier than doing this, but this is what I have at my house right now. And I need something to hang these things up with so I can show y'all how they're going to be used. This is some twine, some jute twine that I have. I'm just gonna cut some of this off. It's left over from another project I had, so just, that's the thing about crafters, we never throw anything away. We hold on to everything because you never know when you might need it. All right, so I've got me a little loop here, as you can see, a little loop. Okay, now I'm going to take some pliers and I'm going to just bend this if I can. Just bend it as tight as you can, as close as you can get it. There we go. All right, and then I take some glue and just put it up into this corner here, and then voila, I have a little hanger that I can then put on the back of my item that doesn't have a hanger. So just make sure you put it on the right side, because I have done it where I don't have it on the right side. So turn it over. Now, one of the things that you can do is, for better adhesive and permanence, you can use some E6000 and glue it directly on. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to use the command strips that came with it to fix it to the back of these items. Actually, I got this wrong, but we'll go with it. We're just going to go with it, okay? All right, that should have been the other way around, but okay. All right, now I'm going to put this about like that. Okay, we'll trim these little tails off right here. And now I have a little hanger for hanging it on the wall, which is what my mom plans to do with it. She plans to hang it on the wall. Well, y'all, we did it. The first one's up. So if you enjoyed it, please comment a little heart emoji in the comments. And don't forget to protect your families by subscribing and liking. And I'll see you next time on Hood Made. Maestro, play us out.